Good morning, Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. Over the decades, I've had the privilege of receiving public and secret teachings from every Buddhist sect and many Taoist sects. I've been trained in the breath work of the Theravadins, as well as their loving kindness work. I've been trained in the Lamrim, Lojong, Loreg, and Chogcheng traditions of Tibetan Buddhism. I've been trained in the Renzai as well as Soto school of Zen. I've been trained in Shan. I've been trained in Buddha name recitation, Bodhisattva name recitation, secret mantra recitation, sutra name recitation, and the like. Yet I found no meditation as simple and as effective and as difficult as simply noticing during the in-breath and relaxing during the out-breath. There can be something so very seductive about distracting oneself in technique, whether it's the corporeal technique of finger crease counting or mala bead counting, or endless visualizations of one's peripheral channels in Taoist Tantra or central channels in Buddhist Tantra, or one's endless rumination of seemingly pious concepts in the Lamrim, Lojong, and Loreg traditions. All those things are easy and can be mastered fairly quickly. But to notice what comes up, whatever comes up, be it glorious or blood-chillingly grotesque, that is difficult. In the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, arguably the most authentic meditation manual attributed to Gautama, who is called Buddha, we learn of the 5 hindrances: greed, hate, mental and physical fatigue, mental and physical agitation, and fear. Sit for an hour, noticing on the in-breath, relaxing on the out-breath. Then there will come a point where you become damn antsy and you just want to stop. You want to get up and get out. It's only for an hour. Your timer will go off. Courageously direct your attention to that agitation. Don't bother asking why. Don't bother trying to find out. Our minds are so creative. If we look for justifications, minimizations, or rationalizations, we will find them. If not in actuality, then we'll just make one up. It's enough to notice it and relax. In the Tao Te Ching, we're taught that if we do so, the wisdom we require will bubble up spontaneously of its own accord. Not everything you see is an indictment. Sometimes things are just things. We may feel despair. That does not mean we are despair. We may feel rage. That does not mean we are rage. What if you and I were simply stages upon which sensations and emotions and thoughts and memories and fantasies and calculations cartwheeled across? What if our job is neither to praise some phenomena and scorn others, but merely to notice and relax? For the most abominable fantasy that may spontaneously play itself out upon the screen of our mind is just that. It's not real. We are neither the victims nor the villains that our mind sometimes tells us that we are. What is it then that makes us a spiritual hero? The courage to notice without filtering, without scolding, without praising, without adjusting. And the wisdom to let go, to relax, not to shove it away, not to claw it closer, but to relax. Anyone who's lived with cats knows that once they accept you, they pretty much treat you as a great big mangy cat. And if you watch cats who love each other play, they use their claws and they use their teeth, and there's no growling, there's no malice. That's just how they relate to each other when they have a close friendship. And they'll do that to humans. They'll bite us, they'll give us love bites, and they'll hug us with their claws, or they'll get feisty with us. And if there's no growling and no hissing and no fluffing and no back arching, there's no malice. But it's still destructive. It still causes cuts, and we still bleed, and it still hurts. Well, we don't want to be like a cat hugging with its claws when something pleasurable comes up. We just notice it. We just relax. We don't want to be a cat batting at something when something unpleasant comes up. We just want to notice and relax. It's enough to notice. Now, there are people who've been sitting in zazen for decades. And there's little evolution. Why is that? Well, because number one, they're trying to control what their brain focuses on. Big mistake. Number two, their brain is showing them something really interested and worthy of noticing and relaxing, but they just can't wait to get back to their breath because they know it's best. It seems as if our bodies and our brains were designed to be enlightened rapidly if we just take use of every opportunity our brains give us. Some of those opportunities are pleasurable, sometimes they're painful, sometimes they are glorious, sometimes they are grotesque, as you've heard me say many, many times. But if we stick with it, if we are like Dante following Virgil on the Odyssey, if we hold the Virgil of our mind's hand tightly and don't let go, and look what our mind wants to show us, it can prevent an awful lot of misfortune. Our mind's job is not to predict the future, but it does show us potentialities within our character. How do we heal those potentialities? You guessed it. On the in-breath, what noticing? On the out-breath, silently and mentally intend relaxing. Don't know why, I don't know how, but consistently relaxing before the face of the nightmare confabulated by our own minds helps us to make peace with it. And that very act of making peace with it transforms us. Dare I say, rewrites our fate. I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that sitting for an hour twice a day is always blissful. When we hear choirs of angels, we only feel the utmost pleasure. That would be a big fat lie. There are many times that it is the hero's journey. But it is well worth it. So sit an hour every morning, an hour every evening. If you have questions about specific situations, address them to me in the comment section below. May you and yours be healthy and happy.